Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Wednesday, what's today? February 15th. I've been getting these down to 30 minutes, which is great. We're going to try and do that again today. Haven't had any activity on my blog this week, and I know I promised the next episode of Crypto Scam. I've been editing the video, the audio, putting it all together. I understand the first five were very sloppy, but I had also had no idea what I was doing. For some, it might be easy to learn video editing and audio editing and image editing. But for me, I'm learning all of them at the same time. So it's a bit of a learning curve, but it's not bad. It's actually a good learning experience. Also, I have to promote, and this is going to end soon. Well, actually, not this one. This I will be promoting for a while. The documentary that I was in is my first documentary that I was asked to be a part of. There might be another one in the near future. I believe the prices are different between iTunes and Vimeo and Bitcoin. I have a discount code or an affiliate code. I'm not even sure if it's a discount, but if you do watch it on Vimeo, please use the code TONE. It's an affiliate code. Maybe I'll make a few pennies on it, or you might get, I think you'll also get a discount. I'm not really sure, but please support, check out the documentary. It was 1 year in the making, and I get profiled in it. Hopefully this gets me on like Bloomberg one day. We'll see. All right, so please support that. And this is great for beginners. If you're a senior Bitcoin person, this is not really for you. But if you like it, this is the documentary you want to show to your friends and family, so that they have a, so that they don't yell at you as much about Bitcoin, I guess, or don't bother them at the dinner table. This is what I'm going to promote. This is one last week. This is me at Anarchapulco, Mexico, teaching professional trading and techniques. Basically, it will be a 2-day seminar about candlesticks and chart patterns and moving averages and some trading strategies, along with doing some maybe live trading, some mock trading. I'll definitely give tips on how I was trading the last 10 years that led me to developing my own strategies in the option space, which is what I try to focus on these days. Just not enough time for everything, and being a content creator in Bitcoin takes it away. This is the whole conference in Acapulco, Mexico. It's a pretty good conference. I'll be in Mexico for about 2 weeks. We might finally get to rest and maybe enjoy some sun now that the equity earnings season is going to end, which is my busy time for trading. So this last month and a half has been crazy for me. All right, let's jump right into the markets, and let me close these guys at this point, free up some space. And I don't even have the FinWiz futures. I'm sure nothing happened in the last hour and a half since the close. Here's the stock market, and this is absolutely crazy. I mean, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 huge bullish days in the S&P 500. If you look since the day of the Trump rally, this is the election over here. Well, this is the election day. And I remember what happened right here. This is, people now think Hillary won. And if I had the futures market open, it like crashed a lot, like 100 points. I believe it was crashing that night down to here. But you don't see this wick because it happened at night in the futures market. Since the election, the market is up over 15%, which is insane. And those of you that know, I'm very bullish the stock market, but this is more bullish than even I anticipated. The stock market had a very bad year in 2015. It made no money. The stock market was flat in 2015, so it's clearly making up for it now. And So I am expecting higher prices, but this is getting a little out of control. There's also this 9 right here, which is a bit of a sell signal. The problem for me, anticipating us falling prices in the equities, short term or longer term, is that this is not a bearish candle. This is a very bullish candle, which is a bit unfortunate. Here's the current week. And again, this was my target, 23.34. And when I put this target in around here, even I didn't think we would get there without some kind of a correction. And we're already here. I don't even know what to do now. These are weekly candles. Do I add another target? I mean, where are we? This is, I mean, that's the next one. And that's kind of far. I mean, I think we're going to get there. I'm very bullish equities, but need a correction. This is not all that healthy. Here's the Dow Jones. And again, you have that same 9, which usually leads to a correction. But until I see a reversal candle, see, to me, this was a reversal candle on this 9 and a shooting star, even though I think the high was the day before. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it's hard to tell if where the high was, but it doesn't matter. This was more of a reversal than we are now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me close equities. And here. All right, let's jump on to gold. And this is the daily gold. It's already zoomed in. I've been zooming into this chart. So, I mean, this kind of happened perfectly. I mean, this was one of my resistance points. We hit it 2 days in a row, coming right back down. And gold's coming back up a little bit. Maybe I will take this short, but the stock market has been on a run. So if the stock market decides to correct, that might be a little bullish for gold. But on the daily chart, we'll see. You know what? Let's give it one more day. We'll see how that goes. Here's the weekly chart of gold, and there is definitely resistance here. This is the 200-week moving average on the weekly, and the 50-week moving average is rolling over. I'm expecting these to cross. There is some more room in gold, but the resistance here is way too much. I talked about gold on the last video as well. We just came up short of this Fibonacci. We are hitting that 200-week. You have the 50-week. You have the declining trend line. You have the previous high, though I hate double tops, right? Or just like I hate double bottoms. So if we come across this line, we're probably going higher. But I'm not even thinking about a bullish near future in gold until we start closing on the weekly candles above 1400. So to me, gold is bearish, remains bearish. Let's close these. Oil, I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just flat. It's putting me to sleep. I had a bullish position on oil for months, and I took it off the table. It's probably still going to go up and then go down, but I got other things to worry about. I don't need to pay attention to a position that is flat and costing me interest because it's a leveraged position. All right, here's the dollar. And what frustrates me to no end with the dollar, this was, I mean, just look at this chart, right? This is a 10, 15-year chart of the dollar. And the dollar fell, I don't know, for a month maybe from this 10-year high. It like fell a little bit. It fell to where the dollar was on 2 occasions last year. And so many gold promoters, so many people like prepping for hyperinflation of the United States and the collapse of the economy. They were all out there screaming, the dollar is falling, the dollar is falling. This is insane. The dollar is incredibly strong. Look, we're back to 101. I pointed out this divergence, which usually leads to short-term pain, but I mean, the dollar is going to keep strengthening because the rest of the world is in such horrible shape compared to the United States monetary system and the United States stable government. I know everyone is like, thinks that everyone's protesting Trump, but that's not true. Just look at the stock market. It's going up because the business world likes Trump. They think he's going to lower taxes. They think he's going to make their businesses more competitive. He thinks he will make them more money because he's able to make money in the private sector. So the world is bullish the U.S. economy, and I am as well. So the dollar will strengthen, and the strength of the dollar is actually going to hurt the U.S. economy because you don't want a strong dollar. If the dollar goes up a lot, it's hard for Apple to sell their iPhones in like Africa or India or anywhere else because they become way too expensive. I mean, if they aren't already, for the third world and even for Europeans. A European buying an iPhone 2 years ago paid 40% less for that iPhone than today because the euro has significantly dropped in price. Like, look at it right here. Here's the euro. So in the middle of 2014, so 3 years ago, the price of the iPhone hasn't really changed. It was like $500 then. It's still $500 today. But 3 years ago, someone in Germany or someone in France buying that iPhone, they were getting a 40% discount. Now they're paying 500 euros for it, where before they were paying like 350 euros for it, right? So this makes it difficult for a company like Apple to make more money as the dollar strengthens. But as the US economy strengthens, the dollar is going to strengthen. So it's like this is why you have these people trying to manipulate the economy to try and optimize the situation. We may not be happy about it, but there's a reason why they're there. All right, so that's the euro. I'm always bearish the euro. I have always been bearish the euro. Well, not always, but in several years now. And I will remain bearish the euro. I think it's a complete disaster. It's grossly overbought, and it's way too strong. To me, the value of the euro is about 50 cents on the dollar. So it's got plenty of ways to go. And just wait till Le Pen gets elected and France decides to Frexit out of the euro. All hell's going to break loose over there. Here's a British pound. Unlike the euro, I think the Brexit is an amazing thing that's going to help the British economy. So I think the British pound is grossly oversold, just like the euro is still grossly overbought. This leads to what I think is an amazing trade, which I attempted to take, and it ended up losing me money because I got into it a little early. And this is the euro versus the pound. And since I think the euro is overvalued and the pound is undervalued against the US dollar, I think that this is going to break down and this head and shoulders is going to be realized. Okay, and finally we have the Mexican peso, only because I'll be in Mexico next week. Can't believe how fast time flies. It's coming down a little bit. It's probably going to come down to 20, and then the US dollar will still strengthen, and Mexican peso will continue to decline in value, though it's declined quite a bit. I was in Mexico 1 year ago today. Not today, but yeah, pretty much today. The conference was a week earlier. I didn't even realize, yeah, so I was in Mexico around this week here. And I remember the Mexican peso being like 18, 19 to 1. And when the Mexican peso started going up and everyone is panicking on the Trump election, I looked at the price and I'm like, oh, 20 to 1. That's exactly what I paid last year when I was in Mexico. What I didn't realize when I was in Mexico a year ago is that the year before when I was in Mexico, it was only 14 or 15 to 1. So I actually happened to be in Mexico right on this candle. So basically, I happen to be in Mexico on the 2016 high, not counting, the election. But I happen to be in Mexico on like God knows how many years. So I just locked out last time. Would have been nice to have that conference over here, but what's a couple of bucks? Not a big deal. Anyway, spending way too much time talking about the peso. All right, and now it's time for what most of my viewers are waiting for, which is Bitcoin. Again, look at the weekly chart. It looks absolutely beautiful. We had these 2 bad weeks right here, mostly because of China. We had some volatility here, again, because of China. And looks like a nice green candle forming weekly. We are in between support and resistance, smack in the middle. And I think we go up. So weekly chart, looking good. Nope, let's go to that one after. Here is my daily chart. I've been showing this chart at conferences. Wow. The first time I ever put this chart at a conference was right here. So where you see like these arrows going down where they start, this is February 2015, the first time I spoke at Acapulco, Mexico. So right here at a price of $240, that was the first time I spoke about. I used this chart in the conference, and I've been using it ever since. I drew in this bullish channel after I had this point here, and it was nice that we came here, hugged it for a while, broke it for a minute, and now we're back in the channel. I drew this green arrow down in Miami in January when I spoke at the hackathon, which is great. Can't wait to go back next year. Maybe I'll compete, as crazy as it sounds, to actually work for 24 hours straight. But I almost do that today, so it's not going to be that different from my current day. Maybe over there I'll get paid for it if I'm part of a winning team. And yeah, I mean, I thought we'd be higher by now this year, but you don't get everything. You do have this confirmation where you have a lower high, and momentum is lower highs. But I think we're going to break this high. I think 1070 is going to go soon. Here is the hourly chart, and I really don't want to squeeze this much more. But I drew this channel in probably like not too long ago. Let's try and extend this channel without like distorting it, because it's so hard to draw on these exponential charts. It's actually harder than it looks because this thing is just exponential charts with Bitcoin. It's a bad combination. All right, so I tried to keep this point intact down here at 915, and also tried to keep all 3 of these points intact. Wow, that was like perfect, Jesus. And this, I mean, this channel has been really something. But now we're under this channel. I would love to see it get back into this channel because it was working nicely. But channel is getting pretty steep pretty quick. I mean, here, February 20th, this channel would be hitting 1075. So something's got to give here. And if we look at the Brave New Coin Liquid Index, which is, will update in 40 minutes at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and it's 7:20 Eastern time. Yeah, I expected us to come back to like 1150 by now and then bounce around. But you know what? If we end up at, oh wow, so this is only like 1040, 1050 area. So if we end up at 1050 in the beginning of March, that's kind of where I expected us to be at the beginning of March. I just thought we would go up higher, but this bad day when China, when the exchanges and Chinese came out, said they're going to start regulating Bitcoin, and the exchanges agreed, which makes sense for them to do it because they don't want to go to jail either. people like Bobby Lee and Starr and none of the other guys. Yeah, so I mean, I did expect Bitcoin to be in the 1050 area in the beginning of March. I just thought we'd bounce off of this line a few times. So maybe we'll get there a little bit later. I remain bullish. This volume is still frustrating as long as it's sitting on the chart. But now we're back to normal volume. And I like that. All right, so that's all I pretty much have to say. I already see some questions popping up. I will promote the documentary one more time. This is something to show to your non-Bitcoin friends and family if you feel like harassing your non-Bitcoin friends and family some more with Bitcoin. But if they come to you and ask, I want to learn about Bitcoin, this is a great documentary to point them to. I mean, just check out the trailer. Hopefully you guys will support and watch. I'll play the trailer, but there's not going to be any sound. But the first voice you hear and the first thing you see is actually me. It's not just me. Other people are profiled in this documentary. But it's great that the director gave me a decent chunk of time to speak on the documentary. All right, let's take a look at some questions, guys. All right, first question. Is now the best time to sell Dash? I mean, Dash should have never been bought to begin with. And I used to own Dash. I mean, I sold my Dash a little while ago. I profited from my Dash position. It's actually the only altcoin I ever profited it on. But I also didn't know the history of Dash. I didn't see Dash as a scam back then. I do now. So much respect for Dash. If you own Dash because you think it's a viable currency for the future, I say any time is a good time to sell. If you are a trader and you know Dash has no future, but you want to try to time it to make the most money out of it, can Dash go to $25, to $40, to $50? Of course it can. They do an amazing marketing job. They do an amazing promo job. I mean, they're actually out there trying to convince people that Dash is better than Bitcoin. And I think that's selling snake oil. And the reason they're able to afford and do that was because of the Instamine and pre-mine, in my opinion. And then they turned it into 50% proof of stake. Well, 40% proof of stake with 10%, you know, God knows where that's going. So it depends on why you bought Dash to begin with is the real answer. The true cost of the iPhone is around $125, so Apple certainly isn't losing money on the deal. Well, the cost of the iPhone might be $125, but Apple does more than the iPhone. I mean, have you been to an Apple store? That's not cheap. And they still make a desktop, I believe, which I'm sure isn't as profitable. Like Apple, the reason why an Apple phone is priced like that is because Apple is using that money wisely. If Apple was able to maintain their stock price by charging less for an Apple phone, they would. And if Apple can get away with charging more for an Apple phone, they would do that also. Trust the free market. Trust the invisible hand. If Apple, if the price of the US dollar goes up, Apple will have problems maintaining all of their employees and maintaining their nice, you know, Apple stores and stuff. What are your thoughts on analyzing gold in yuan based on the Shanghai Gold Exchange? I only evaluate things in US dollar terms. I don't really evaluate things in other currencies because the US dollar is the world reserve currency and everything goes off of the US dollar. Now, if the US dollar has its problems, which every world reserve currency has throughout history, and the yuan becomes the world reserve currency that the world trusts, I'll start evaluating things in yuan. But I evaluate things in US dollars. Now, Having said that, something is an all-time high if it's an all-time high in all currencies. And what frustrates me to no end is someone saying, well, gold is an all-time high in Indian rupees. That means nothing to me, right? It needs to be an all-time high in all currencies. And people say, well, if you're in Europe, then if you had bought this, it would have been your best investment. You're like, yeah, but if you would have, held your savings in US dollars, you just offset that currency decline, right? So it's kind of like the same thing. I don't think I'm getting that famous. All right, let's see other question. How do you think Bitcoin price will be affected if the Bitcoin ETF is not approved? I've been doing a pretty good job trying to, well, those that listen to me, trying to explain to the world why it shouldn't be approved and why I don't think it will be approved. If people are buying Bitcoin thinking that the Bitcoin ETF will be approved, then I think they'll be greatly disappointed. I don't think it'll be affected all that much. I think the smart money knows that the probability of the Bitcoin ETF being approved next month are very, very small. And I think if it gets approved, there will be a nice speculative bump to the Bitcoin price. And if it doesn't get approved, it will be a very small bump in the road. It might drop, but it'll be very short-lived. What Bitcoin scaling model do you prefer, core roadmap or unlimited? Notra, you must be new to my channel. I think Bitcoin Unlimited is a complete and utter disaster. I think it's a hostile attempt to basically fork Bitcoin and to remove the smartest developers we have in Bitcoin. I cannot be more against Bitcoin Unlimited, and I'm a huge supporter of the core team and of SegWit. Let's see. Another question. Is BitSquare a viable way to sell Bitcoin for fiat yet? And if not, when will it be? Is it better to use local Bitcoin? So I don't know much about BitSquare. I've never used it. I've never been on the website. All I know about BitSquare is that it's some kind of a decentralized exchange. I have no comment. I'm not technical enough to criticize the viability of a decentralized exchange. I cannot conceptually trust someone saying it's a decentralized exchange. I have absolutely no clue how it works. I trust the market. If BitSquare was truly a decentralized exchange that was safe to use, it would have 90% of all trading volume around the world. Because to me, people willing to hand over their private keys to exchanges that are still running away with their Bitcoin, the free market is basically telling me that BitSquare is not viable. Will it be? I have no idea. I prefer to use local Bitcoins, but I don't even do that anymore. I'm not planning. I don't buy Bitcoin at this point, nor do I have disposable cash to buy Bitcoin with. I still recommend buying them from people. Try not to buy them from strangers. Try to attend Bitcoin meetups in your area. Try to meet local people. Try to meet their suppliers of Bitcoin. Maybe they will want to sell it to you. There are people that need to sell Bitcoin to pay their bills. I'm still friends with a few of those people. They usually call me when they need $100 in cash for Bitcoin. I usually have $100 laying around. Not always, but sometimes. And when I do, I wait for someone to call me and I'll buy it. As long as they're selling it to me at market price. I try not to chase Bitcoin. I let it come to me. I try not to time it. Okay, another question. Why do you not like double tops and bottoms? I don't think they're long-term good. I never found double tops or double bottoms to be sustainable. To me, a double top just means that it's going to be broken to the upside, and a double bottom means it'll be broken to the downside. Of course, everything is time dependent. The biggest reason is because markets, you will lose money. If you're a trader, you will probably lose money. It's very, very difficult to profit from the market. It's very, very difficult. And a double bottom gives people a second chance to get out. A double bottom gives people a second chance to get in at a good price. And a double top gives people a second chance to get out of a high. And the market doesn't help you like that. The market does its best to make sure you lose money. So there aren't too many second chances in life. And there aren't too many second chances in the stock market. So when I see a second chance, I think the market is playing me for a fool. So like the .com crash and the NASDAQ took 15 years to get back to the high. The high in gold in 1980 took almost 30 years to get back to the high. The bottom in the housing market in 2008 and the stock market, I mean, we're blown right through that, right? And it was lower than the bottom in 2000 after that crash. You don't, like I said, you don't get too many second chances, bottoms or tops. This is why I don't like double bottoms and double tops. All right, let's see. Have I tried Poloniex? Yeah, I mean, there was like a few months where I was trading some altcoins, then I realized it's a bad idea. This was years ago. Poloniex is probably your best option, but remember, Poloniex can pull a Cryptsy tomorrow, right? They can just run away with all your coins like Big Vern did in Cryptsy. You're putting them at risk. I mean, trade them at your own risk. There's also a big risk where the government shows up at Poloniex's office tomorrow and you can't get your coins back without a KYC. I think Poloniex right now gives you like a $2,000 max withdrawal limit per day, but they don't have to do that, right? I mean, that's only because Poloniex is still kind of small and the regulators haven't forced them to AML KYC, and they can pull a China, right? I mean, all of a sudden, boom, tomorrow, all your tokens on Poloniex are frozen, and the only way to withdraw them is if you KYC. And then you KYC, the government will know exactly how many coins you have, and then they can go backwards in history and demand taxes all the way to like 2013 or something. Okay, now this may not be a big deal right now because a lot of people lost money on their altcoins, but if, let's say, Bitcoin doubles over the next 6 months and the day before you decide to pull out all of your altcoins and Bitcoin off of Poloniex, this happens at the worst possible time when you're actually up a bunch of money, and now you have to go and account for all your taxes that you may or may not have paid for the last 5 years, right, in the crypto space. So Poloniex comes with risk, and I think these are heavy risks. Let's see. What do you think about Ethereum Classic being immutable? Do you think they will overtake Vitalik's Ethereum? I don't think Ethereum Classic is all that immutable. I mean, the value of that blockchain is very, very small. Do I think they will overtake Vitalik's Ethereum? Well, remember, Ethereum is going to go proof of stake, and they'll probably have another hard fork. So we'll probably have maybe 3 Ethereums. I have no idea what's going to happen. But sooner or later, Ethereum Classic and Ethereum will look nothing alike, which is why Ethereum was a complete joke from day one. And I will be covering Ethereum on Crypto Scam. I have not gotten to it yet. Ethereum is a big beast. There will be an episode released tomorrow morning. I'm still editing that, but it's not Ethereum. But hopefully you guys will check it out and really like it. But I will get to Ethereum. It's a little more complicated because, if you're gonna call out Ethereum a scam, you really need to. I really need to do some more homework, and I haven't even started doing my homework. So, what's the best way to sell Bitcoin for fiat? Well, it's the same way you buy Bitcoin for fiat, right? Find some friends, have friends come to you. Like if my friends and family come to me to buy Bitcoin from me, I'm going to tell them no, because I don't have that much Bitcoin. I want to hold on to it, and but I'm sure just give it another 6 months. When Bitcoin is pushing 1,500, you'll have, and people know you have Bitcoin, you'll have plenty of people asking you where they can buy it, and you can just sell it to them. I haven't been paying attention to the Ethereum Bitcoin, like the Ethereum pump. I know it went up. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's organizations like CoinDesk that just, they can't see it, the fact that how bad Ethereum is, and they continue to pump it. And it's just hype. It's like Dash. I mean, there's just, they have a marketing machine because they pre-mined Ethereum and they have money. So they're going to keep milking it until the whole house of cards comes down. Yeah, Bitcoin ATMs are good. I recommend the ones in Canada because they don't KYC. I believe, don't hold me to that, but yeah. So I recommend the ones in. If you're going to use a Bitcoin ATM machine and you happen to be in Canada, probably better off doing it there. If AML KYC is not a problem for you, then use the Bitcoin ATMs in the US. And I know I have a global audience, but I'm kind of US centric. I haven't left the country in a while. I'll be in Mexico soon. All right. How do I see gold in comparison to silver right now? Okay, so, oh man, the Q&A is already going longer than I expected. I used to talk about gold in comparison to silver. Let me see here. Had a chart. Here, gold-silver ratio. So while that loads, let me see if I have any other questions. How do you feel about the upcoming crypto regulations in Japan? Will it help to stop scam? I mean, take a look at, yeah, if you go to my blog, and this is just earlier this week, the Bitcoin group number 128, where we talked about Japan. So just check out that video. I don't think it's all that relevant. Okay, so gold. Here's my gold-silver ratio. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's starting to go down again. So I should have taken the trade. So a few months ago, I was talking about how this is where you short gold and buy silver. And it was coming back up. And I said 75 would be a good one. Didn't really make it, but it did hit the moving average right here. Seems to be doing really well against this moving average. So right around here at 73. Now it's down to 68. It'll probably still come down to here. So yes, so right now, according to this chart, gold is a short and silver is a buy, and it's telling me that gold is overvalued compared to silver. And it might stay this way for years. Do you know of any block trading services for Bitcoin? I don't understand the question. Block trading? I'm not sure. I want to rephrase. That was the question was from Martin. Let me see if there's any other questions. What percent of an investment portfolio is good to allocate to Bitcoins? It's hard for me to answer that question. I'm a believer in Bitcoins, so a decent chunk, instead of it not much, of my disposable income is sitting in it. but I don't have any. I haven't had income in over a year, right? I'm just trading, and my trading stays in my account. I actually don't withdraw my trading profits. I try to live on what I've saved over the last few years, and also I try to live as cheaply as possible because I like my life. I like making content. I like traveling. I don't want to go back to work. So I'm a cheap bastard for the last year or so. And nowadays, I try to even get conferences to like pay for my expenses to go there and speak, mostly because I don't want to go back to work. I like doing what I'm doing. I don't want to go into my trading profits. I'm still trying to build up my portfolio. And I don't want to go into the Bitcoin. That's like my retirement also. So I'm just spending on whatever savings I had. And I don't know, maybe in 6 months, I'll be renting out my apartment and just, moving to Asia where I can live, 10 times cheaper. Maybe I'll do that, right? Because I don't want to cut into those savings. Am I going to do a crypto scam video for Ethereum or Ethereum Classic? No, I'm going to do both. I'm going to do Ethereum first, and then maybe I'll take a break and do a few other things, and then I'll do Ethereum Classic as well. By the way, Ethereum, it's not going to be one video. It'll be like an 8-hour video. The crypto scam Ethereum will probably be broken up into at least 3 parts. I'm going to be speaking with at least 3 co-hosts for that one. So like I said, crypto scam Ethereum is a very complicated beast, and I will get to it, but it may take a little while, maybe even after I get back from Mexico in early March. And earning seasons will be over, so I'll have more free time. When is a good time to buy Bitcoin? It's always a good time to buy Bitcoin. It's like the stock market. It's always a good time to buy the stock market. It should only go higher. A block trade is a privately negotiated transaction or an exceeding an exchange determined minimum threshold quantity of shares, which is an okay. So this is off-chain transactions, basically. Yeah, you want to go with a reputable company. I know a few people but again, you'll have to get KYC'd. But yeah, so that's probably how you want to buy. If you're gonna buy if you're gonna do like $100,000 transaction to buy Bitcoin, you really don't want to do it on an exchange. You want to, meet a reputable third party, and they will sell it to you, and you'll negotiate a price. Will Bitcoin fall again to 800? It's possible, but you might be waiting for 800 for 10 years, right? So it's hard to say. But you can say the same thing about any asset. I personally think gold will fall down to 700, but I can be wrong there. All right, guys. On that note, I will. Oh, last question. Okay. How many? No, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not going to entertain that idea. But thank you for the question, Matthew. That's. I haven't even looked into that, and it's a joke. It started as a joke. People that created it knew it was a joke, and somehow it has value only because it's a joke. What happens if SegWit doesn't pass by the deadline? Nothing. They'll change a line of code in SegWit and try again. They're not going to change a significant line. They'll add a comment and try again. There's nothing wrong with SegWit. SegWit doesn't need fixing. We're not going to have big block. We're not going to hard fork to bigger blocks. That's insane. And if SegWit never passes, then it never passes, right? Then there is enough propaganda, and then there is enough people on the other side that don't want to see Bitcoin scale, and they don't want to remove transaction malleability, and they want to see $100 transaction fees. And I'm okay with that. I am perfectly okay with a $100 transaction fee. because I don't plan to use my Bitcoin for cups of coffee. I will continue using the US dollars and credit cards. So that's fine. People will be willing to pay $100 for a Bitcoin transaction. I mean, again, go to my blog, look up an article called "The Top Use Cases of Bitcoin," and you will understand why people will be willing to pay $100 a transaction. I will eventually be willing to pay $100 for a transaction if I want to move all of my Bitcoins from, let's say, one secure place to another, and those Bitcoins combined are worth, upwards of $10,000. I will gladly pay, $100 for a transaction to do it. So if SegWit doesn't pass, I don't know. Maybe we'll use Litecoin to buy your coffee. I don't know. To me, not supporting SegWit is just I don't know what the motivation is for these people. I really don't. I personally think they're just trying to kick out the smartest people in the room so that they can do it, right? It's kind of like Trump is like this big exception running the US government as the president, because usually the people that run for president are the worst people you want, ruling you. So it's like one of these things, right? You want to kick out the smart people so that you can have the advantage. So that's not how I prefer to run a business. But this happens all the time, right? It's like in government more so than the private sector. But when I was an employee, I was at it was still Bear Stearns, I think, like right before the collapse of Bear Stearns. I had to hire someone. This was going to be my first hire, and it was me and another guy. We had like our own little. I want to say it's not a department, but the job that I was doing was only being done by one other person, so it was two of us. We started together. I became his manager because I was the better employee. We needed another guy. I actually, I don't know. I guess I wanted to get rid of him because I didn't think he was doing a good job. But for political reasons, I wasn't allowed to get rid of him and hire someone. So I said, fine, I just want to hire someone. And when I was hiring someone, I had plenty of choices to hire someone, and I hired a PhD. And I'm not even a PhD because I wanted someone competent. And that competent person actually turned out to be better at my job than I was, and I was his manager. So I didn't have a problem with that. But some people have a problem with that, right? Some people will never hire someone smarter than them at the risk of losing their job. And I didn't have a problem with this. So when you have people trying to force smart people out, I have a problem with this. So it bothers me. Well, yes, if a Bitcoin transaction is $100, one Bitcoin will be worth upwards of several $1,000s. I don't know about tens of hundreds, but if one Bitcoin is $10,000, $20,000, people will pay $100 for a transaction because they'll probably be using Bitcoin for something, for a few Bitcoins worth per transaction. Q&A on the Bitcoin group. So the Bitcoin group show is already kind of long, so it'll be very difficult to add a Q&A to that. But we can start looking at the group chat during the Bitcoin group, and if you raise a good question, we can try and address it. But I'll bring it up to Thomas. Was he non-white? Couldn't fire him for political reasons. It's something like that. He was white, but something like that. All right, guys. On that note, I will sign off. I'm actually, wow, during the Q&A, the number of live viewers went up. So please go back and check out the whole video. Also, please support the documentary, Magic Money, The Bitcoin Revolution. I strongly recommend it, though it is a documentary for beginners to learn what Bitcoin is. All right, guys, catch you on the next one. The next time you see me will probably be this Friday on the Bitcoin group. And then, or perhaps I'll try and release the next episode of Crypto Scam tomorrow morning. I will do my best. Signing off. Good luck with your trading.